There have been a number of changes this year for the Chillicothe Transit System, and one of those is coming this weekend. It is the trolley making a return. We'll talk about that and some other changes that have been made coming up in just a moment as we visit with Asti Powell, Aaron Kennedy, and Bill Menendez. Coming up next.
Introducing Budweiser Zero. 0% alcohol, 0 grams of sugar. Full Budweiser flavor. For all the moments you want a beer and need to stay on your game. Budweiser Zero. Zero compromise.
We implemented a lot of changes in January that came out of a year-long planning process that the city undertook last year. Aaron, do you want to talk a little bit about the community engagement piece and how we got there, and then we can kind of talk about what came out of that?
Sure. So the City of Chillicothe, we went through an innovation track, and that was in conjunction with Harvard and Bloomberg. That was a 9-month-long process, and we engaged lots of residents, over 400 residents. And from that, we came up with 200 ideas, and we kind of condensed it down. And the major changes that we came up with for now are on demand, and we condensed our routes and made them more efficient and work better for a lot of the residents. Actually, all of our routes are half-an-hour loop, and then anything that's outside of that service area would be considered for on-demand within city limits.
Yep. So the rerouting that we did really made it more efficient. So it wasn't just, well, I'm waiting on the bus and I'm not really sure when it's coming, but then when you got on the bus, it took a really long time to get where you needed to go. That we had one resident, I think, said, it's just quicker for me to walk there. And that's not what the transit system's supposed to be about. And so, we thought the on-demand idea came up, and it was kind of interesting because we're like, let's get rid of fixed routes. Let's do on-demand. And we immediately got feedback from the community. They're like, we like this idea, but in other cases, we really still like the fixed routes if they got us there quicker. And so that was really good feedback for us to kind of, we think we heard this, and they're like, well, you did, but we still want this. And so more efficient fixed routes rolled out in January in conjunction with this new on-demand service. And the on-demand service, we're working towards getting it Uber-like and same-day request, so they can pre-schedule their ride if they would like to, but it's curb-to-curb service, so it's no longer, well, I got to walk to the bus stop and then get where I need to go, and then I might still be a half a mile or a mile away from where I actually need to be. And so they can book their trip, we'll pick them up at the curb and take them directly to where they need to go, which seems to be working really well. We're getting quite a few individuals using it to get to work or get to school, and some of those like very timely, needs to be where they need to go type places. So that was one of the big changes that rolled out. And again, complementing that, well, here's a more efficient fixed route, and then here, let's fill in the gaps with this on-demand system.
That has to be huge for paratransit.
Yeah, so what it did was took how we were operating paratransit and expanding it to everyone. So we still have that service for paratransit. All of our vehicles are wheelchair accessible, and so we're making sure, those that use mobility devices can get around. But then also, if you do not fall under that category, you can still get point A to point B very quickly. I think the other piece, like if you want to talk about the service area, how we extended it, we focused on the city limits, but then also looked at these high need areas.
So what we did is, when we were looking at the area, obviously you got the hospital. It used to be a fixed route. We changed that to on demand, basically to accommodate people with appointments, to make it easier for them to get out there and get back quicker, more timely for them. Not having to sit on a bus for an hour or so.
Go to Walmart before you go to your doctor's appointment when you're not feeling well.
So it's direct to the hospital, Kenworth. We go up to the 207 interchange. So from city limits up to 207 interchange, so we can hit the Riffle Machine Works, the Kenworth Corporations, the YSKs, and also 104 up to the VA. Because we also know that there's people that we know we need to get to the VA Medical Center for appointments, and a couple workers. So we'll go all the way to the VA, the prison, up 104.
Yep.
It's so hard for corporations to be able to find enough people to hire now. You want to make it as convenient for them to get to work as possible.
Yes. We've we've worked with the Chamber of Commerce. So Mike Throne is actually the president of our Transportation Advisory Board, and he was telling us at the last meeting there was a restaurant and they were struggling to get workers, and he's like, oh, they had 2 quit last week because their car broke down, and he's like, there's on-demand transit, they can get them there, it's free this year. And so I think we've tried to through the chamber and through other partnerships, like, let individuals know it's a way to do it.
Bus routes, planning those out. You almost have to have an engineer's degree to plot those out, I'm sure.
It did feel that way.
Even now we like get a map out and we're like, we're this way, and they're like, wait, that's one way, and you can't turn left here during certain times. That's been.
So what's the route decision process like?
I think what we knew we had a good base with our existing fixed routes, so they're not extremely different than what they were. We just tighten them up. We know Bridge Street is a main corridor. We know Western Avenue is a main corridor, and the idea behind fixed routes is go where there's high need and lots of population. And so we kept those, but then we looked at national standards and, how far apart or how close together should bus stops be. And in our old system, in some cases it was like stop, go block stop, go with block stop. Well, that's not efficient. But then in other cases, maybe there's not sidewalks there, you do have to have more frequent stops. And so we kind of took those parameters in place and took what we had existing. And then we pulled our data from what stops were getting used in what locations and kind of realized, well, we're running up here and over here, but no one's actually taking the bus. So let's remove that and
feedback as well.
And the feedback, yeah. We not just through the innovation track, but as we were getting ready to unveil what the changes were, invited the public in to comment and talk about what they would like to see or not see. So.
And you've received positive feedback, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Since the changes, the vast majority of feedback that we've received has been positive, which was welcome.
And the stories have been positive. We worked with a veteran who was homeless, he was trying to get to a job fair or job training, and so we're like, well, you can take the fixed route over there. And then there was a hiring event at YSK, and we're like, well, we can get you from there to YSK to do that, and that system really worked well for him. And then we have some other individuals or families that are going to their jobs, and I'm not sure why they weren't using transit before, or it could be, it was quicker for them to walk or whatnot, but when we were taking them to employment, they're like, it's saving us a significant amount of money rather than using a cab or using, I have to pay my friend to come pick me up or whatnot. And so those are good stories, I think, that we.
And the other thing is we're also taking input from the community, even as we roll out this new service. So every quarter we sit down as a staff and we're taking all those suggestions that are coming in from people that might say, hey, I'd like to have a stop here, or why are you not going here? We're taking all those ideas that are coming into our shop, and we sit down every quarter and we reevaluate, what's working, what's not working, what can we change, what can we tweak. Case in point was from the first quarter, we have a shuttle route that runs from the hub to the library up to Walmart and then back. So, somebody suggested a stop at the Church of Christ on Bridge Street because a lot of patrons like to get on there. So we looked at it, and so we initiated that new stop for this second quarter, and it's been, so far we've received a lot of positive feedback for that. So,
and it overlaps with our Bridge Street route, so that helps connect the routes even more. And then also, we not just sitting back receiving feedback, we actually go out on the buses, we actually go out into the lobby and out around the city to try to collect that feedback as well every quarter, so that we're being proactive in any changes that are being made.
Something that has been challenging everyone is gas prices, and I kind of wonder, have you seen an uptick in your riders because of the gas prices?
I think it's hard to tell because of all the other changes. So it's something I think we've had conversations with some riders about, and right now transit's free, it'll be free all year. It's a more affordable than your own personal vehicle, but it's more affordable to do it than your own personal vehicle when the gas prices aren't this. And so it's kind of using that language and educating them, or maybe this is the hook, and then they realize, hey, riding transit or doing on demand isn't too bad, and I'm going to continue doing it afterwards. So
Yeah, and we do, every month that we have a positive impact with new riders
Yep.
that are joining for the on-demand service.
Yeah.
So the word's getting out, because I run the report every month, and it's like, wow, we got this many new riders. So
yeah.
Downtown, of course, last year you tested, and since then you've purchased
Yes.
a
Yes.
new trolley. Talk about the excitement of putting this thing on the streets.
Last year, we did we call it was a prototype, a trolley trial, and this was part of the innovation track. It was honestly kind of short notice, but from the feedback that was generated, in 2 days we had over 750 riders coming from all over the place, from Columbus. We've had out-of-state people coming to the trolley. It blew our minds. Like, we were thinking this is either going to hit really big or it's going to miss really big. Well, it hit big, and since then, that was in July, I believe. Since then, we've had continuous calls. Hey, when's the trolley coming? When's the trolley coming? And so we have purchased the trolley, and it's ready to roll.
Yeah.
You got a date?
June 10th. June 10th, we'll be rolling it out. I think the other piece that's really exciting is because we purchased it, we have a lot of flexibility with it. And so one of the things that we did when we tested the trolley was, again, talk to the residents. Like, what do you think? What do you like? What don't you like? What would you like to see? And once again, like, the community showed up and had a lot of great ideas. And so by purchasing the trolley, we have a lot of flexibility to test out those ideas. I recall several families with young kids were getting on, and they're like, we love this. It gives us like an opportunity to get out with the kids and get fresh air. They had input on what the routes looked like. So when we did the 2-day test, it was kind of like pretty core downtown, just it's 2 days, we got to test something. And I know one of the initial feedback was like, we love this. Can you also go to the library and the park? Because those are the two free things that are in the area. And so maybe we aren't able to get out and purchase dinner or whatnot, but like we can still bring the family down and still connect to those two resources. And so I'm really excited because it seems to connect like a wide range of folks and demographics, like older couples, young families, individuals. And so for me, that's exciting. And that's just within this downtown loop. So when we roll out June 10th, we have a 3-month schedule lined out. We're going to test 2 main ideas, or we're going to run with 2 ideas. Fridays and Saturdays, we'll do an extended downtown loop that incorporates the park and the pump house and the library, as well as multiple stops throughout downtown for folks that want to do shopping or eating or visitors coming in. Tuesday, we'll be running an evening route between the series of hotels that are off of Bridge Street down to the downtown. That was feedback we received as well. The hotels seem to stay full Monday through Wednesday with different executives and transporting coming in, and they want to go downtown, but maybe they're not sure how to get around or where to park. And so, again, just another draw to support our local businesses. But that's just the 3-month schedule. And so after that, we'll be rolling out other ways to use the trolley, going into residential neighborhoods. We could go out to Tecumseh. We can schedule historical tours. And so it'll be just really fun over the next year to continue to talk to the community and say, I don't know, let's try that. Like, we haven't done it, and the trolley makes sense, and that can be a fun way to engage a different group or, engage a different neighborhood. And so that is where we are right now, but a lot more movement and activity and scheduling to come on it.
And you've been through the process of getting the trolley. World Heritage kicks in.
Yep.
You may look at getting another one or 2.
Yeah. I'm not going to argue that.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I think so. I think the other thing that's neat is because of the way the community viewed it with like as a solution for things that we weren't necessarily meaning it a solution to be. So for us, the transit's for everyone, public transit's for everyone, but we understand not everyone's going to get on a bus. Like, they have their personal vehicle. And so in our idea and talking to the community during the innovation track, like the trolley was a unique way for everyone to participate and get on, even if they don't have their own personal vehicle at home. But in that, we did the downtown tour, and we had a couple folks get on, have some mobility issues, and they're like, this is great, I love coming downtown, but I have to park over here, and I actually can't walk everywhere. And so in their mind, they're like, what a great solution for parking. And I was like, that's not what it was, but if that's what helps, then that's what helps. And then same thing, with the families, like, this gives us something fun and exciting to do. Like, you're right, it does. Let's continue on that. So that's been pretty cool to kind of watch how people recognize it and how they see it fit for their particular family and the community.
It kind of gives the idea of having the broader community take a fresh look at transit.
Yep.
So that's that kind of the hook, and then hey, we have on demand and the fixed routes that we've redone as well. So it kind of pulls it all together.
I gotta ask you about the bikes. I have not seen anything about the bikes until I walked through the front door here.
Yep.
What's the story behind booking a bike?
So it's in conjunction with the library. We partnered with the library. We purchased, how many bikes do we have?
4.
4 bikes. You can also get them at the library, but you can basically, if you got a library card, check them out. And you check them out and you get 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to obviously come back in, turn it in. You can probably check it back out if you need it more than 2 hours. But if you got a library card, you can check it out and enjoy the
Yep.
biking around Chillicothe for.
And most of our vehicles have
Bike
the
racks.
bike racks on the front of them as well. So if you get out somewhere and realize you biked further than you intended to, then
Yeah.
put it on a bus and
Yep. Or call on demand, and we'll pick you up
Or
where
call
you
on
are.
demand,
And
right.
so we have the 4 bikes here, but the library has 7 bikes, and they have a couple pull behind. I call them like kid cards,
Yeah.
but and so it was just nice to be able to partner with them because they had the system in place. Like, if you have a library card, check it out, it's free, get where you need to go, do it whether it's leisure or you're actually using it for transportation. You can also pick it up here, drop it off at the library, you can rent at the library, drop it off here, and then the YMCA is also a drop-off locations. And so there's just a couple different hubs for ways to check out your bike and get around, but then not necessarily have to bike back where you're coming from. So.
Through an AARP grant, what a lot of people have seen or will be seeing is we got new stop signs or bus stop signs that have been placed around the city that stand out. So you know that it's a bus stop. You don't have to guess. If you're at that sign, you'll be picked up. We also got benches that we've put out through the city, and some may have already seen the swing set. You can't miss it at the library. But that's actually a pretty cool looking swing set.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
it's got the two swings, bench swings on it, and then we've got one out front here. And hopefully in the future we'll be getting more infrastructure. We got some shelters also, two
yep.
shelters
Yep.
for the weather. So hopefully in the future we'll be able to get some more structure out there for the citizens to utilize. So good things are coming.
Yeah. And that was another piece that came out from that innovation track. There was this confusion, like, where is the actual bus stop? There were old bus stop signs. There were new stops, but no signs, so that was confusing. And then the lack of infrastructure is someone might be waiting on the bus. And so, again, just it's cool to see the community come in and give the ideas, and then we're able to just take it and run with it and implement what they want to see. So our transit system was one of 2 transit systems in Ohio that received funding. We actually received the award last year, but we're still working through the details from ODOT. It's a $1.7 million electric bus pilot project for the state of Ohio. We had requested some funds on a small scale to kind of, again, test it, see what that would look like, what's the impact, what's the cost benefit there. And ODOT called and was really interested in the concept and what we were wanting to do, and kind of took it upon themselves, and they're like, Chillicothe is going to be the example. So we are excited to get that award. There's obviously a lot of pieces that go through it. It would be for our buses that you see now, and so those buses, we would get 6 electric buses as well as the charging infrastructure and be able to pilot and test it here. And so that will be coming in the next year or so as we work through those details. But again, just something exciting to revamp transit and what we were doing, and seeing what the impact is from an operations standpoint.
As part of the transit system as a whole, we also offer, it's called ROSCO. It's for Medicaid eligible individuals that are going to and from Medicaid billable appointments. And that service area includes, we actually have a contract with Ross, Vinton, and Hocking counties. And our service area includes Columbus, and we can go to Portsmouth, and we have it's a large service area as part of that program. And so if you have Medicaid and need transportation, then the ROSCO program can help with that.
And I think Aaron started there with a really good point. He said another piece of the Chillicothe Transit System. So, we have ROSCO and medical transportation. We have fixed routes. We just launched the new on-demand service. We have bikes you can rent. We have the trolley coming. And so I think that's also something we're trying to be intentional of. Like, it is a transit system. There's different ways to have or increase access and mobility for the public, and we're just trying to be really conscious of that and make those decisions and provide a lot of opportunity. Because if you can't get to medical appointments or food or employment, then it doesn't matter whether it's there or not. And so we want to make sure that we're being that connecting piece.